Kuma Girma goes on the inside lanes, but this for Lemaitre Girma is a test. How can he perform over 5,000 metres when he's got the opportunity to prepare properly for it, like he has here today? Zurich last summer, he was exhausted mentally and physically after his exploits over his favoured distance, the steeplechase. He's got stiff competition today. Nicholas Kipkorir of Kenya just inside of him. This came 4th at the World Cross Country Championships. This is Berhanu Bailu of Bahrain, the recent Asian Games winner over the 5,000 metres, took his 3rd title this year. Brian Fay, Irish 5,000 metre record holder. Benson Kiplangat was the bronze medalist at the World Cross Country. He was just on the end of that front row. We move back to the second row. Stuart McSwain. There's 3 Australians in this field. There goes Jack Rayner and Matthew Ramsden. And when you look at the Olympic qualifying time of 13.05, that is a mark that's going to be focused on by these athletes. They really want to hit that automatic qualifying mark and not rely on World Athletics rankings and invitations and whatnot. These men on the outside, though, Kipkorir, Bailu and Girma, will be racing it. We've already got qualifying times, and Girma surely will stick with the steeplechase. Loggerheads with Soufiane El Bakkali seems unable to beat the Moroccan in the championships. He can do it in a Diamond League, he can break world records. But that global title over the steeplechase has eluded him so far. He's the national record holder for Ethiopia over 1,500 metres, the world indoor record holder over 3,000. And Girma, he's testing himself here at 5,000, seems very content just to sit in the middle of the pack so far as Agbachi applies the front. The Frenchman, the first of our pacemakers. We have got wave-like technology going on the inside. I believe that the green lights have been set at the world-leading mark of 13.51. That's still with Grant Fisher of the United States. They're way ahead of that light at the moment. That could be why we've seen some of the athletes hold back slightly.
Yeah, they're not interested, are they? Yeah, 12.51, the world lead, Grant Fisher. But again, we reiterate, early stages of the season, that equates to around 61, 62 second laps. Stewie McSwain there, fresh from the Aussie Championships a couple of weeks ago. A relatively short hop for him, relatively, from Australia.
That world-leading mark at 12.51. Of course, we're starting the outdoor season now, but when you look at the world rankings, all of the first 20 marks have been set at the same facility in Boston in the United States. That track is just seemingly magic for 5,000 metres, and you can go, oh, that's fun, that's cool, but it really affects athletes' ability to qualify for the Olympic Games. You know, those so many men running fast times in Boston has skewed that qualifying time, has brought it down really, really fast. And they got the likes of McSwain and Ramsden. They're not going to go over to Boston and race in the middle of the season. They're going to wait for the outdoor season, so they've got to try and hit that mark on the main outdoor season.
Let's dip into the women's discus and Yami Perez. Well, what a last couple of weeks it's been for the Cuban. 73.09 she threw at the Oklahoma Throws Series. The 10th furthest throw in history, and that really sent shockwaves through the sport, no doubt about it. Puts her 9th all-time on the list. She is, of course, the world champion from Doha back in 2019. And she's got quite a lot of comfort there. She can afford to give away, what, 1.5 meters, I think, and still be way above the pack. 68 and bits for her opening throw.
Agbachi still leading the way, pacemaking here. The target for the first kilometre should be around about 2:36. We were told the pacemakers would be going 62 seconds or so, which is around about 13 minutes. And then we'd expect a bit of a burn-up over the last 2 kilometres. Such has been the style in the men's 5,000 metres in the Diamond League over the last couple of seasons. 2:36 for the first kilometre. Brilliant work. All the men still involved. We did have some phenomenal 5,000 metre races last summer, and just to have large packs of men all moving together at 13 minutes. Some of them have said it's actually very hard to deal with tactically. They're not used to having a big bunch like this, but such is the strength and depth in 5,000 metre running that suddenly you've got men all around you whilst you're sprinting flat out, and everyone can last till around about 4 kilometres, and the tactics and the placing becomes very important.
Talking of tactics and placing, well, here is Mondo Duplantis. Are at 5.82, 55 clearances of 6 meters plus now, and that's why clear daylight for Mondo Duplantis, and that's why he's the man to beat. But in Glasgow, it wasn't flawless, was it? He did come under some pressure. He got the job done in the end, and that's ominous for the rest of the field, because if he can win with 6 meters and 5 on an off day, that's how good he is. But maybe is the spotlight just starting to bear some pressure on him. He's been at the top and there to be shot at for a number of years now. That Glasgow title was his 7th global title in a row. The pressure's only going to get higher and higher as we work towards Paris. This, incidentally, is his first appearance in China, first time he's ever been to China, he was saying, so he's very excited about that. Just a few days off after the World Championships in Glasgow, and then was back to training, and it's been going very well. There is Duplantis, so often at the top of the pile. 5.82, Sam Kendricks, we'll see him shortly.
Callum Davis of Australia has taken over the pacemaking duties at the front here. Agbachi did a very good job through the first 1,200 metres, 3 laps or so. And there is younger Girma, Kuma Girma, who's just 18 years old. He does train with his older brother, Lemecha Girma. They both train in Saluta in Ethiopia, coached by another brother. So it's kind of like the Dababa family. There's an awful lot going on in the Girma family running-wise. But Kwemoy of Kenya, Ronald Kwemoy, is the first out of the racers at the minute, sitting just behind Callum Davis. Stuart McSwain, Australian, just behind. McSwain did have some good performances last summer. He struggled a bit with illness in 2022, I think it was. He was slightly off his best. He's getting himself involved there, never shy of the pace, McSwain. Kwemoy has got a personal best of 13.14. That's one of the slower times for the Kenyans, so he'll be keen to get close to 13 metres. 13 minutes, 5 minutes 12 through 2 kilometres. That is bang on 13-minute pace for these men. Superb pacemaking from Callum Davis. Yeah,
very good indeed. Puts them outside the 12.51 target. Just keeping an eye on not K Guillermo, but Lemesha Guillermo. It's often said that steeplechasers should do well at 5,000 metres, but as you mentioned at the top of the race, that hasn't proved to be the case so far. Why do we think that is?
I think if you get really geeky about it, the physiology, what you need your heart and lungs and your muscles to do in a steeplechase is closer to 1,500. You need a bit of explosivity. You do need endurance, but not as much as you need for a 5K. So if you're focusing on the steeplechase, you're probably vulnerable over 5,000 metres at your peak in the season. But I do think at this point, 100 days out from the Olympics, you should be working on your overdistance, on your endurance. And Guillermo, for me, the level he runs at over 3,000 flat and steeplechase, he should be capable. Surely 13 minutes should be okay for him. And I love to see him testing himself over this 5,000. He's going to do the same next week at the second Diamond League in China. And maybe we'll get a look for how his endurance training has been going over the winter.
Well, he's looking very good indeed at the moment. He had that wonderful 3,000 metres, if you remember, at the start of the Diamond League season last year in Doha. Really superb time. I just wonder whether he might, in the long term, move away from the steeplechase and think about running on the flat.
And it is the younger Girma, Kuma Girma, has been ushered to the front as a pacemaker. They do train together, the two brothers, so perhaps that was the plan. Once the pacemaker stepped aside, that he would help the pace keep moving.
Now, Sam Kendricks, who had an awful last couple of years with COVID and having to sit in a hotel room during the Tokyo Olympics, had injury and has now been working his way back and finished very strongly indeed in 2023. And that's why, safely over at 5.82, albeit at the second attempt. And he pushed Mondo Duplantis pretty hard. And Sam Kendricks looks to be in the mood here and back in business. And he will be looking to challenge Mondo Duplantis throughout this Diamond League season and ultimately in Paris.
I was really impressed by Kendrick's attitude and application at the end of last season. Having missed out on the team for the World Championships, he would have been bitterly disappointed. But to bounce back with wonderful performances through September last year and into the indoor season, and you mentioned 5 consecutive global titles for Mondo. Is that spotlight widening slightly? Is he getting tired? Is he suffering from fatigue there with continuous years after years? And the likes of Sam Kendricks, with a few down years, not from his own choice, I think he could be poised to do very well this year. Back with the men's 5,000 metres. They are through the 3 kilometre mark. We haven't got a split for that, but it is Kip Korir at the front at the moment. He was 4th in Tokyo at the Olympic Games, 3rd at the World Athletics Road Running Championships in Riga, and then a really good 4th at the World Cross in Belgrade. That was just a few weeks ago. So he's gone to the front here, Nicholas Kip Korir, and he's pushing the pace. He's got his teammate Benson Kiplangat, who took the bronze in Belgrade, just behind. He's getting himself involved as well. Masai of Kenya moving up alongside Girma. You do feel like the pace is just starting to build ever so slightly for these athletes, and they're so capable of gaining time in the last 2 kilometres. If they can get themselves 2-3 kilometres at 13-minute pace, then they can just keep clipping away. 62 seconds for this lap as well. I think we would see that edge down towards the 60 seconds over the next few circuits.
They're certainly warming up, and Lamesha Girma, well, looking more and more comfortable there. We've got 3 distinct groups now.
We have still got the likes of Matty Ramsden, I think, involved in that group. But here's another look at Feng Bin. She's in second round. She's no, she wasn't leading. She's down to second place.
Down to second place. Second round throw, looking to improve on 66.99. Great home support for the Chinese, and that looks to be possibly an improvement for Feng Bin. 69.12, her lifetime best. Chinese, Asian and Asian Games champion. .67.07. She remains in second place.
They're through with 3 laps to go, under 1,200 metres for the men's 5,000 metres, and it is still Nicholas Kipkorir of Kenya pushing the pace at the front. The tall figure of Lamesha Girma just behind in the steeplechase specialist. Chris, you said he's looking more and more comfortable, and I think you'd agree, as you get through this 5,000 metres, you see 3 laps to go, you see 2 laps to go, you can start believing in yourself a little more. You can stop worrying about those middle few laps and whether you're going to be found wanting. And Girma, he did, however, drop out with 2 laps to go in Zurich, his last attempt at 5,000 metres, but he looks very engaged in this race, very focused. He's been holding on to that second place.
Yes, he has. Many people thought it was curious that he dropped out with 800 to go, but I think he was just spent in that race in Zurich. And the first time he attempted 5,000 metres was way back in 2010, I think, from memory, in the Golden Spike in Ostrava. So just completing this race, and let's assume he's going to do that, would be progress.
Slow lap from Kipkorir there, just a 63. Adisu Yehuni of Ethiopia has moved himself up alongside Girma. You can see Girma looking over his shoulder and saying, what do you think you're playing at? But Yehuni, the Ethiopian, has every right to be at the front of this field. He's the world under-20 champion from Cali in Colombia a couple of years ago. And he's got a sub 13-minute clocking to his name. 12:58 his best from Hengelo a few years ago. So Yehuni strikes for the front, but Girma responds straight away. 600 metres left for these men.
Girma looking very, very comfortable indeed, just ominously on the shoulder there, perfectly placed. Very tall athlete, lovely, lovely, natural, rangy style. Very compact, low arm carriage, and he looks very determined here, just having a little look around. He's in a perfect position coming up to the bell.
Girma with that wonderful 1,500 metre speed that he's got in his legs, national record holder for Ethiopia over that distance, and he is going to welcome the sound of that bell. 60 seconds for that lap. They have sped up already, much of that done by Yehune, the 21-year-old. He's trying to hold on to pole position, onto the lead, but Girma is on his shoulder, and Nicholas Kipkorir, the Kenyan that led for so long, he's digging deep, he's trying to stay involved in third place, but there goes Lamesha Girma, the steeplechase specialist, stretches his legs down the back straight. Normally, he's got to jump over a barrier at this point and then take a sharper left-hand turn over the water jump, but it's just a plain 200 metres for Lamesha Girma, and he has bided his time. He's clearly had so much more in his legs than he's shown in the first 12 laps of this race, and the final half lap is going to be all about the Ethiopian. Surely this isn't a change of distance. Surely we're going to see him back in the steeplechase, but this is a wonderful marker for Lamesha Girma. They're closing hard behind, but he did the work down the back straight to separate himself from the field. Is he going to nip under 13 minutes just? Lamesha Girma completes his first 5,000 metres on the 3rd attempt, and he's rewarded with 12:58 unofficially. Kipkorir, the world champion cross-country 4th place finisher, comes back in 2nd place, and a strong finish from the Asian Games champion Baylor of Bahrain.
Well, that's a wonderful, wonderful piece of composed running there from Lamesha Girma. First of all, it's his first ever completed 5,000 metres, so he'll feel good about that. And the fact that he's won it, and he won it so impressively, augurs well. And I wonder if a certain Sufyan El Bakali will be watching this somewhere. I'm sure he is. There'll be a steeplechase to look forward to in Marrakesh in a few weeks' time. But Lamesha Girma, well, he did all the damage, didn't he? Had plenty in reserve in that final 400 metres. And when he made his move, it was decisive. And yes, they were coming back at him. There's the moment when he went past, and it was decisive. They were coming back at him a little bit in the final, 70 or 80 metres, but he had enough of a lead in the tank, and all the hard work had been done. But, yeah, does that pose a little bit of a problem for him?
I mean, this is the problem though with Girma. He runs a fast 1500, he runs a world record, he still can't beat Al-Bakkali over the steeplechase in a championship environment. But that for Girma, I'm wondering if we look towards next week in Suzhou, and the pace is put on for him again, and he's got lights and things like that, whether he'll be a bit more confident to really go for it. Now he's got this here, he's finished a 5,000 metres, he's gone under 13 minutes, and then maybe next week he'll roll the dice a little bit more and go for a faster time.
We shall find out in 7 days' time. That's an excellent performance here early on for Lamesha Girma.
It's a big old trip here from his training base in Ethiopia. And I think it's nice that the athletes are getting to race twice in China. They've made a big journey, and they can hang out here and compete twice. They still do hold, what are they doing this week now? It's a long time to be away from your home comforts and in a championship environment. I can't wait for next week to see how it affects different people. But Kip Korir, I'm glad he was rewarded with the season's best and under 13 minutes in second place, because he did so much of that pushing once the pacemakers had dropped out.
So back to the field. A reminder, 5 field events here in Xiamen here on Saturday. So first look of the evening for the Olympic champion, Val Ullmann, looking to register a mark. First throw was a no throw. US champion and record holder as well. Disappointed to be shunted down into second place by her compatriot Tasaga in Budapest last summer. That will have hurt because it was unexpected. Finally she gets a registered mark. 64.70 for Ullmann. Perez leading the way still. So Ullmann up to 4th place. Former ballet dancer, as many of you will know. So excellent balance.
So, Perez, top of the pile at the moment, but about 4.5 metres down on what she managed in Oklahoma. That was such a throw. The replays have gone all over social media. It was wonderful. It's another good throw there for Perez. It's going to trouble her 68-metre best throw at the moment. The confidence that much must give you, and I think in discus throwing you've got to stay relaxed, you've got to be able to use those levers, and the more pressure that's on you, the tighter you get and the more your form deteriorates. I think sometimes that's what we see from Ullmann when she's under pressure, and she often finds that in the Diamond League season. She might be a bit shaky in the first few throws and then comes good in round 5 and round 6, so watch out for Ullmann. Perez leading at the moment, and there was Lamesha Girma leading the men's 5,000 metres. Big relief for Girma and his team. He successfully navigated this 5,000 metres. Of course he's capable, and you mentioned Chris, yes, he's going to be better at steeplechase if that's his best thing, but this just shows you if you're that good, if you're world record holder at steeplechase, 13 minutes is kind of bread and butter for you.